Welcome everybody to another episode of Uneducated MMA. I'm your host with the most partner, Brent. And I'm joined here by the BMF champion of the world, REG.
Hell yeah.
That was a lot. Wow, it's been a minute.
Yeah, we back,
Honestly,
man.
I ain't gonna lie to you. The whole countdown went down, and I was like, "Wait, what do I say again?" Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. And then I just got back into character.
Riding the bike.
First things first. How you doing? How things? How
I'm
the
doing
kids?
good, man. It should change. Just got a raise.
Okay. Upward mobility. I like it.
Yeah,
I like it.
We're only going up.
Yeah, Dominicans are big up, bro. We won the World Baseball Classic. I found out the other day because we're on a podcast. We could just say whatever we want, and it's true.
Yeah.
So Dominicans won the World Baseball
I
Classic.
heard Waldo got the
Waldo's heavyweight
champion.
championship. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a beautiful
we created
time.
our reality.
Took the door off the hinges. You guys, I feel like we need to have like an office style behind the scenes before we get set up because like it's so funny in here, man. Like,
Yeah.
We're coming here off of like a day of work, just exhausted, and we're just like trying to get the creative juices going back up so we can get back into character.
All day, and you just at the end of your work shift, you're just a little loony.
Just a little bit. You're like
you're just a little bit like
I'm a little hungry. We're always a
give a
little
fuck.
tired.
You're joking about things you might not joke about with certain people, but you're just like, nah, I don't give a fuck no more about keeping up this act of fucking.
It's always so funny because I feel like it's the same. It's like we'll come in, like we'll trickle into the room like one by one. And usually it's a little quiet at first. No one's really saying something. Maybe we're eating something, and then someone will bring up a situation or something.
Yeah.
And from there it just goes.
Yeah.
Somehow we ended up on Door Off the Hinges. Shout out DJ Khaled. If you get the reference, you know the reference. All right. It's been a minute. We haven't talked MMA talk in a while, so we're getting right into it off top. A lot has happened since the last time we were here. I believe our last episode we were previewing UFC 326. Since then, UFC 326 has happened. We now have a new BMF champion. Unfortunately, I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. I vacated.
Word. I didn't mean to bring it up like that.
It's okay. I vacated.
Whew, I thought it was a problem. Let's see. We had like 3 fight nights? No, we had like 2 fight nights, and man, just a bunch of breaking news.
Yeah.
So let's start off at the top. New BMF champion, Charles
BMF.
Du Bronx Oliveira.
Yeah, he gets the dub. A well-needed dub.
Well-needed dub for sure. He finally has a belt of some kind. I feel like if there's one thing I like is Charles is a champion, so I'll take whatever it is at this point. I think the controversy, everybody and their grandmother has spoken about it enough, so I think we could just rip off the Band-Aid.
Yes, sir.
I think BMF at this point, a lot of people aren't happy with it, and I think they want it gone. The performance that Charles had, where it was a dominant one, is not what people would consider BMF worthy. Yeah. Everybody, I think, has the understanding. You get put in a BMF situation, it is a for lack of a better words, and a Melvin pause, stand and bang fight. You know, you're not. There's no takedown attempt. There's no submissions. I feel like allowed. Realistically, it is. You're striking the entire time.
You should be throwing hands.
You should be
the whole time. And it was I get it. Get that dub. Well needed. So you got to follow the game plan. Just make sure you get the win. But it is what it is. You're kind of changing the value of a BMF belt.
Yeah.
This might be the first one that kind of like. All right, get rid of it.
Yeah.
Like say, all right, well, you guys weren't BMF enough for this fight, so I guess we'll just get rid of it.
That's the thing that's upsetting because I know beforehand we were talking about this belt gives a lot of people opportunity to fight for a bigger purse. They're able to get more money and more recognition where they can't get necessarily the actual weight class title shot. They can go and fight for this BMF belt and get a nice little check. Yeah. But in situations like this where you have somebody who didn't necessarily put on the performance people wanted, can you really justify keeping that going?
Right. It's like
we'll see what they do.
You can't get into a cage match and go out the door. You know? You know? Yeah, you got the win.
Yeah.
the crowd want to see you climb that cage.
The climb want to see you climb the cage. Honestly, I couldn't have said it better myself.
Yo, for real.
There's actually no other way.
That was straight from the top.
There's no other way to say it.
God made me say that. I had no thoughts about that.
But you're not wrong. Especially like I think what it is at the end of the day is violence. If we say he decided to go to the ground, great. Where's the ground and pound? Multiple opportunities for elbows from above. Let's see something go on. Yeah. There wasn't really a lot of that. It was a lot of, I'm going to keep going for this submission. If I don't get there, maybe I'll try for this other one. But realistically, I'm going to keep trying to take his back and go for the rear naked. But
he was like very Dagestani-esque throughout the fight.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is that, like, if you watch the few striking exchanges they had, Charles was putting the hands on him. Yeah. I'm not going to lie. Max had his combos in there. Yeah. But in terms of, like, who seemed to be landing what you would consider, I guess, a significant strike, I felt like it leaned towards Charles in those exchanges. The power was there.
I think if they would have stood the whole time and just traded shots, I think Max would have ended up knocking him out.
I don't know.
Really?
I don't know. Off of what I was seeing, like I said, like he was landing like shots, but he was peppering them. Yeah. Whereas like when Charles was landing, Max had to back up because he was like, whoa. Like I said going into the fight when I was doing the preview, Charles is one of the hardest hitters, like noted a couple of different fighters in lightweight. So I think it would have gone to a point where I think either way they would have ended up on the ground, but maybe at that point it would have been a little easier for him to get a submission. But
I just still got that image of Topuria. I think that's why in the back of my mind it's like, oh, you got a weak chin.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I get what you mean.
So even like though he was piecing him up, I felt like Max could have just.
But when have you known Max to really like knock somebody out quickly? Like, listen, we've seen it happen, but it's like wear and tear, and then 3, 4, 5, he'll get you out of there.
It was a 5-round fight, right?
5-round fight, yeah.
They would have to been like standing up, throwing strikes for like 3+ rounds.
For sure. I think maybe, I don't know. It's weird because you can't. Not that you can't, but I don't think they'll necessarily change the rules for that fight. Like, I don't think they'll put any other like stipulation on it. But maybe they do slight changes where the ref is like, all right, this is BMF fight. It's BMF rules, and really the only thing. And I forget who it was that said this. Somebody else said this, where the rule would be like you get 10 seconds or something like that. And if you're not moving or there's no activity on the ground, you stand up. Like it's a little bit more of a rush to get you back up on the feet. You can go for the takedowns and whatnot.
If you see the video game got the game mode, that's tough to say, huh?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, every time you're like stand and bang, bro. They're trading. They're trading.
They have that option that you can just like not have any ground game in the video game. So it's like, why wouldn't you just have? That would be a lot of people would like to see that in real life too.
Well, that's the thing is that like the topic has gotten brought up like several times where you have kickboxing, you have Muay Thai, but for some reason these aren't very big public sports in terms of people watching it in the U.S. It seems like you can find gyms everywhere and you can learn how to fight, but for some reason people actually tuning in to watch it isn't huge. There are organizations that are big in it outside of the U.S., but here you're not really going to find that. Right. You Karate Combat correspondent. I'd say Karate Combat is slowly starting to like gain some traction because that's nothing but striking for the most part. But
it's exciting.
Bro. It is, but it's still not as big as let's say like the UFC will be when it comes to giving you MMA as a sport. So I think it's just one of those things where you could possibly change it because now we keep talking about it week after week. It's entertainment, it's sport. What are we doing? Are we talking about rankings? Or are we talking about who's more exciting? Who knows at this point? Right. So you could just change the rules and say, fuck it.
You can't have like a hardcore match and not grab a steel chair.
Yeah, I think it only worked the one time, bro. The magic is gone. I saw where you were going, and I'm so sorry. The fans are gonna call you out in the comments. They're gonna be like, God, come on.
I thought I had another one.
No. I will say though, the first one, putting that on a shirt, that was great. I've used it. I don't know when, but at some point I'm gonna use that. Someone's gonna come at me with a real like difficult life situation. I'll be like, hey, listen. Sometimes you're in a steel cage match. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to take that door, but the fans, we don't want you to climb up. Yeah. He's be like, you're right.
I gotta climb.
I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna find a way to use that tomorrow at some point. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But yeah, so I feel like now that Charles is the champ, I think you have a couple of good fights for him, but I think he's too close to the top to want to go for like real belt status. And for me, I don't like the mix of BMF and regular titles. So like maybe this is a thing where like, I don't know. He doesn't get a title shot. You give him Conor McGregor, who allegedly is going to return, and you get him to fight BMF. You can do some cool matchups, but
I do not want to see. Conor McGregor get thrown to the wolves to some grappler that will do
I ain't gonna lie to you.
do to him what like freaking Khabib just
Yeah,
did.
you're right.
I'm trying to see like at least a little like I'm trying to see Conor McGregor come back and have a little bit of exciting.
Yeah, I think they gotta do a better matchup for him and let him get a bit more of a let's say a chance or at least an exciting fight for him.
Land the left hook
at least once.
At least once.
At least once. All right. So all right, that's topic number 1, I guess. All right, let's move on. So what was the other breaking? Let's see. There was a lot of breaking news. What's the thing? Yes, Freedom 250.
Oh, snap.
I don't know why they didn't just call it like UFC at the White House, so they didn't go with another numbered event, but they went with Freedom 250.
I'll tell you right now what I've learned from all this. These motherfuckers are fried.
Yeah.
The whole presidency is like crazy. Like if you think about it, it's like, yo, fuck it, we got a war going on. We just let's just rewind real quick. You know what I'm saying? World Baseball Classic, USA versus Venezuela. We just took their leader.
Yep, DR won, yep.
Yeah, DR won the whole thing, but they ended up taking their resources and everything. Now we got a whole war going on, whole thing going on while we're going to have UFC fight at the White House. You know what I'm saying? There's a UFC fight. These niggas are going to watch like the Julius Caesar, bro. He's going to look down at Trump. It's just like, yo, are they gonna even have fans? It's just gonna be for Secret Service.
No, so now
politicians.
More detail has come up for the White House card. So there's gonna be, I think it's gonna be like a few thousand in attendance for the actual fight themselves. If I had to guess, it's gonna be military and political figures of some status of some kind. Other than that, there are an insane amount of tickets that are gonna be just given out to the public. I don't know what they haven't announced yet.
That sounds like a bad idea.
Hold on, they haven't announced yet the way that you can get the tickets because it's going to be a free event. They're not going to be watching it where the fights are. You're going to be somewhere else, but they're going to have like a whole setup for you to be able to watch them. I'm assuming background checks are in order.
Yeah,
You're gonna
I
probably
assume
have
the
to
freaking
submit ID, birth certificate.
FBI already knows exactly.
ICE agents are strip searching you upon entry.
Yeah.
Like you are. It's gonna be, Hey, but to shout out to those who go, I'll tell you right now, like you ain't gonna catch me there.
I think they already have the military running around there.
Yeah.
In general, like DC, I think they have them mobilized like some fucking.
It's funny because you go back when this like first got announced, we were like, man, I feel like this would be really cool. But back then it was a different time.
Yeah, it
man.
was a different time.
Hear me out. It was a different time, like 6 months ago. Unfortunately, a lot has happened since then.
You got the National Guard just like acting as police there right now.
Who's getting pelted with rubber bullets at UFC Freedom 250?
Wait, I'd be afraid to even just go to that state. Yeah, I'm not going to that event.
I know. I was having the conversation the other day where I'm not going to lie to you. The more you think about it, you are correct. You are like, yes, let's get a bunch of military and politicians in one centralized location during an active war.
I know exactly where they'll be. I've been watching a lot of James Bond lately. And this just sounds like a James Bond flick. with some type of like secret aid, some type of, they're going to have a missile and James Bond has to stop this missile from hitting the white.
I'll tell you right now. So
I'm
far,
I'm
going to say you right now. I can guarantee there's probably other people that are having the same thoughts that we are. But it's funny to me that at least the bigger outlets that I've seen, the main concern they have is what if it rains and they're outside? And I'm just like, I don't know if that's your main concern. I'm going to be honest with you. I will say there's got to be a high level of security that they're going to have for this event. Like, there's at least one would hope.
If you don't create a roof for this shit.
I don't know, man. There's got to be some sort of setup.
Some gazebo of some sort.
I'm intrigued to see. Well, I don't know if construction's already underway, but if they start soon, there's most likely going to start being images that are going to be put out. I would hope that they set up some sort of like tarp situation in case it rains. But I think overall, it's not going to be the best day for the fighters or anybody really there.
Honestly, this is one of those events that even though they announced everything, I'll believe it when I see it.
It's fair. It's fair.
You know what I'm saying?
No, honestly, that is fair. I'll give you that. All right, let's get into the card real quick. I'm gonna read through the card, and then we're gonna have a brief discussion because I want to get your opinion on on a couple of different things that I've heard in the MMA space regarding this one. All right. So, top of the card, main event, boom. Ilia Topuria defending his, or actually, would it be, I guess it is defending his lightweight belt because he's going up against the interim who's coming forward. They both got belts. It's very confusing.
They both got belts right now.
Ilia Topuria defending his actual lightweight championship against Justin Gaethje, the current interim lightweight champion.
To decide who's the real
champion. Remember, Ilia was a MIA for a little bit.
He had to vacate, right?
He had to do some stuff over there on the side, and now he's back. So he's I guess defending his belt. Next up, you got Alex Pereira moving up to heavyweight to verse Cyril Gane, who somehow has another title shot. What are we doing?
This is for the interim?
This is for the interim because Tom is also gone. His eyes,
no eyes,
double surgery.
How do you lose 2 eyeballs?
I don't know, man. He's down horrendous. Although I heard update, he says he's back in training. He says he's back to it.
No, he's not.
No,
we don't fucking not, bro. He just lost 2 eyeballs. Like, bro, he's probably doing like.
They took them out. They did surgery to put him back in. Dude, he really is. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't think he's gonna be back for quite some time.
I think he's doing like the mobility stuff, like the shit to keep him like
somewhat active.
Yeah, but I don't think he's in no camp type.
Guided walk on a treadmill.
I doubt he's freaking sparring. I'll tell you that.
No. I see with the way. I don't know. The eyes are sensitive. I'm hoping at best like first quarter of next year.
Bro, you imagine those headaches? He just lost both eyes.
I feel like he sits in the room in the dark for at least the majority of his day. I feel so bad for him. Like, he was somebody that I had a lot of high hopes for that I thought, his career was going to skyrocket. Shit. He was going to get John Jones and the whole 9, but...
That whole thing, did a whole 360. Everybody was calling this dude freaking a duck for freaking not wanting any smoke with Tom Aspinall. Look what happened now. He fights Cyril Gane finally.
Yeah.
And gets his both eyes poked out.
Yep.
And now he's not fighting, holding up the heavyweight division.
And now you're not wrong. Now he's literally right back to square one. He went fully around, full circle to end up right back where he started. Damn shame.
Cyril Gane somehow.
Cyril Gane is still continuing.
7th
title shot. Maybe he makes it this time. We'll see. Next up, we got Sean O'Malley versus Ayman Zahabi, or as some people call him, Ariel Helwani. Mauricio Rufi versus Michael Chandler. Bo Nickel versus Kyle Dawkins. And Diego Lopez versus Steve Garcia. So, this is the conversation I want to have. The talk around the MMA space right now is that this card, trash. Garbage. Throw it away. Nobody wanted this. This is not at all what people thought it was.
I would have respected more of an all-American fight.
So hear me out. We were having that conversation, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about. We were having the conversation about who could they possibly have on this card? How many Americans can they stack on this? Who's actually a big name that they could possibly put on this? It seems like a lot of the names we threw out there were disregarded, maybe. Or maybe they were reached out to and they just weren't added. But I'm not going to lie to you. The card that we got is not the one that we were promised.
Not at all.
So
I can't say on the bright side, at least.
Yeah.
We got Topuria fighting.
Yeah.
And Chama at the same card.
Here's what I'll say. I think a lot of gripe for this card comes from the fact that we were definitely promised a lot. They overpromised the shit out of this card. It didn't help that Donnie T was over there talking, we're getting 7 title fights, we're getting all the title fights.
Donnie T, I didn't even, when you said Donnie T, he didn't come to mind.
No, my fault. But yeah,
oh shit,
El Senor Trump, Donald Trump, definitely went on a whole, I guess, campaign about this card, saying that we were going to get a bunch of title fights, it was going to be the best fights, 1-of-1 fights, and then, in a way, Dana White, course corrected, but didn't correct. He didn't want to be he's wrong, because obviously this is boy. You can't call him out like that. Yeah. But he was definitely trying to course correct a little bit to say we're going to deliver an amazing card. And this is what I'll say: if you were to change the name of this from UFC Freedom 250, and if you were to go, this is UFC 330, I think people would have been like, this is a great card. I think a lot of people would have been like, this is an amazing card. If this was a regular pay-per-view or premium live event or just whatever you want to call it, if it was a numbered card, I think a lot more people would have enjoyed this than you building the hype for the White House card and you deliver this one, where everyone's like, oh.
I would have liked it better if they had, this card, not at the White House.
Yep.
But at a military base or the Apex Center.
At a military base would be fly.
And a whole bunch of military around as the crowd.
That'd be dope. Like
this is for the
WWE support the troops. Yeah.
So that way it's not like, oh, this is for the White House.
Shout out to, real quick, SmackDown versus Raw 2008 is a deep cut from my memory. That was one of my favorite places to have the fights at. Or it might have been actually also 2009 and 2011. I believe they also had that same arena, and you could always fight and support the troops.
In Afghanistan?
I don't know where it was, but it was definitely outside. Continue.
So,
Taporia fighting on the...
Topuria was fighting on the...
I completely derailed the conversation. So we were talking about the White House card. We were talking about that if this was on a different card, if this was just like 230 or something like that,
So if they were in a military base that didn't have the White House event, Donald Trump behind it, maybe he visits.
Yeah.
But he visits a lot of, like, events just randomly. I think it wouldn't have been that big. I think it would have been a great card.
Yeah.
Like, if they kind of, like, didn't hype it the way they did.
I'm still going to stand by this statement that I've made a few times now. I think it's so dope that they're just having a sporting event at the White House. I just think it's a different thing. I don't know. Like, for me, I don't know. I just feel like I like the change up in the way that they're presenting the product. They're bringing it to a different place, and the fact that they're bringing it to a White House, a historical location, is just really cool. That being said, read the room. Obviously, when this was planned, they didn't think, what was happening was going to happen.
Yeah.
Granted, it seemed like, well, actually, I don't think that, I guess Donald Trump couldn't have been like, by the way, in 4 months, we're going to...
Yo, but we got this event.
We got this whole plan.
Still do it?
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
He was like, no, it should be smooth by then. Like, I think that's really what he told him. I think he's like, listen, it's going to be a little rocky for like 3 months, but just persevere. It's going to be fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that if you decided to call this a different one, or you decided to move it, like, let's say a month or two down the road, I think it would have been taken in a lot better by the fans. But because you put all this hype behind it, we thought we were going to get matchups like Tom Aspinall versus John Jones, or even Alex Pereira versus John Jones. I think we're definitely having a bit more of a letdown when it comes to it, and not as much excitement as they wanted the fans to have.
I do like what it represents, in a sense where shit's getting kind of weird out here in America.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just remind everyone, stop being a pussy. And here's some fucking masculine UFC at the White House to represent the country. I think that's...
Salute.
It's just like, oh, shit. Y'all making a statement with this UFC fight. That's how I feel.
I can't wait to see what all the talk is in terms of, like, actual just public media outside of MMA, because I think that's really all I'm getting from it. Because I think it hasn't... I remember it making its rounds when it got announced on, like, random social media, like Complex and whatnot. They were all posting it. So it's like, okay, this is gonna get some notoriety for now, but it's gonna go quiet. Once the event is actually, like, gearing up to get there, once you start getting embeddeds for this stuff, I can't wait to see what that week looks like.
The monuments and stuff like that, and the embeddeds. And
always wanted to fight in Washington, D.C. They're in the fighter hotel. You're just like, this is crazy.
The most American freaking intro you'll ever see.
Yeah.
I better see the most... I want to see, like, the most American intro. I want bald...
Fireworks. Yeah. I want fighter jets. I want...
Bald eagle.
Yep.
I need a bald eagle in
At least
shit.
two.
Two of them.
Yeah, they gotta do this.
Yeah. And I need to see,
I think it's going to be a good day. I feel you, though. I think that they should do something. I think they're going to put in a lot of money to make the event more of a spectacle. I think that's why the fights are, like I said, they're good fights, but I don't think that that's why the money isn't what we thought it was going to be. In terms of they're talking, $60 million into the event. It's not in terms of who they're paying to be on the card. It's going to be what we're going to give you. The same thing that they did with the Sphere. And that thing was insanely expensive. It wasn't necessarily who was fighting. It was the spectacle they gave you around the event. So I'm hoping we do get the fireworks, the bald eagles, and all the other cool
everything.
stuff.
You know the jet.
You know the jets are coming.
The military going to be there with their freaking salutes and every
I think the beginning part of that is going to be so dope. When they're, like, starting off the event, I think the kickoff is going to be cool. I'm excited to see how it goes. But getting into the actual fights themselves, all right, let's just go right through them. Ilia Topuria versus Justin Gaethje. I think the biggest problem people have with this one is Justin Gaethje sounds like he's going to get slaughtered. I think that's what most people think of this one.
Yeah,
I mean,
even though
we've had this conversation off camera. Go.
Yeah, I thought he had an amazing performance his last fight.
Yeah,
but even so, I don't think it matters.
Do you think that he had an amazing performance because Patty didn't have a great performance? Like, I feel like that's where a lot of people got, like, confused by that. Like, Patty, I think, had a lot more hype because even I picked Patty going into the fight. I thought that Patty was going to give him a lot more trouble than he did, and it ended up being, I feel like, a one-way fight for Justin Gaethje to just put his hands on Patty.
I think Patty was there too early. I think, like, we just saw the levels to this.
Yeah.
Like, Patty, he's a rising star. He's going to kill it. He's going to be amazing in his career for sure. I still think he has a great future, too. But we realize where that line is. Like, oh, okay, well, he ain't Justin Gaethje. We kind of forgot, oh, yeah, he's not with the, I almost said Dustin Pedroia. What's his name? Poirier. Like, he's not on that level of, like,
top, let's
Charles
say 3.
Oliveira's in the
top 3. Because we can say he hangs in the top 5, but I think it's the top 3 that he's got to have an issue with. And that's not including the champ. I'm talking like literally 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah. It's like, and he got a little humbled, but I think he'll come back even stronger.
I think he will too, and I think he'll learn from that and he'll come back. But like I said, with Justin Gaethje's performance, like I said, it was a good performance. I'm not going to take anything away from that.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to lie to you. I'm big on the side of, I think, most other people where I say that, like, Ilia Topuria, I think, is just going to walk through him. I don't think it's going to be the type of fight that we think at all. I think in terms of Justin Gaethje, what we think is like highlight reel knockouts, going in there, just whatever happens to me, happens to me. I'm going to walk forward. And that's exactly the kind of person that Ilia Topuria puts down. Yeah. Charles Oliveira said it himself. He was like, the reason that I got knocked out is because I did not fight smart. I went at him, and if I didn't, I would have done it a lot better. But and stuck to my game plan. But the fact that he went directly forward at him, he didn't decide to, like, let's say, circle, throw kicks, things like of that nature, what he usually does, get the distance. He ended up just getting knocked out. And if Justin Gaethje steps in the booth with Ilia Topuria, and still.
And and like, there's so much footage on Justin Gaethje. I bet you Topuria knows every tendency that the Gaethje, he knows every detail probably. Yeah. And he already knows how he's gonna end up knocking him out. And
this podcast is all about jokes. You know, we're not gonna sit here and act like post-divorce Ilia Topuria doesn't have some extra level of superpower on him. That man just fresh divorce. I don't know how much she got, if she got anything. He's going in there with a purpose.
He's going in there with
Although he smiled leaving the courtroom, so who knows?
That's powerful, bro.
Yeah, he looked very happy.
Johnny Tapia beating a case. that's how, Johnny bro. And he's ready to get back out there and just like take over the world.
Yeah, there was a lot of slander thrown out that he immediately got quiet, and now he just walked out smiling from a courtroom. I think he's doing all right.
Yeah, he's gonna end up knocking him out. I think I don't know. I can't picture him like ever losing ever again.
I think
he's beating everybody.
Everybody's favorite fighter so far. And Justin Gaethje, if it comes to fruition, will be just another name on that list.
Have you ever seen like online where it's like when someone's trying to beat a record and it has the little Grim Reaper? Like,
and he's just going through the doors.
Bro, that's Topuria.
That's what it feels like. Yeah. I've seen the meme already made with Justin Gaethje's face. It's there. I'm telling you, like, he's getting everyone's favorite fighter.
It's like, damn,
Volk,
who's left
Max,
in the
Charles,
UFC?
Justin.
Now he's gonna beat the Dagestanis.
Yep,
and he's Georgian. He can wrestle too. Still.
Yep.
He just doesn't have to show it.
I think that's the super fight that's somewhat lingering for him. Is him versus Islam is potentially going to happen, but I think it's because the weight. I think that's where the fight won't get made anymore unless they decide to do it at a catch weight, which I don't think that they will. I think they'll make him fight for like a belt.
That's one thing. Topuria's mad little. Pause.
I think comparatively to Islam, for sure. I think Islam has him just like overall.
Just like him going up and fighting Oliveira was crazy if you saw them side by side.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. To be fair, it's crazy when they say that they're like, oh, this guy's like oversized for his weight class. Because then you look at him, you're like, I mean, like, I guess so. But then you look at him compared to somebody like, for example, like you said, Charles versus Ilia. You're like, oh, I see what he means. Yeah. But then you have to remember that Ilia was also 45, moving up to 55, which 10 pounds doesn't seem like a difference, but 10 pounds carried is a much different thing. And you got to remember, a lot of these guys where they fight at this weight class, they don't walk around at that. Sometimes nearly not even close. So I could see that. Moving on, Alex Pereira versus Cyril Gane. Like we talked about earlier, how the hell did Cyril Gane get 7 title shots?
Bro, what the fuck? and he doesn't even like.
Title shot off the eye poke is crazy. Waldo should be in there at the White House. We've been said this one.
Ben said this. I needed that.
Off the win of the World Baseball Classic, you move him in, right? You push in Waldo into the White House card as a Dominican.
It's like how Korea kind of like forces media on you.
Yeah,
like this is what you're gonna freaking believe.
Yeah.
So we would have been literally.
We can just live in disbelief all we want. Like, who's gonna tell us that we have free will?
Yeah, exactly.
It's fine.
World Baseball Classic win, bro. Imagine Waldo. White House flag waving at the White House.
Do you think that they would allow? They gotta.
You got it.
You gotta.
This is United States.
It's a melting pot.
Yeah. You got it.
Salute.
Yeah.
I think that this is going to be one where, for me, I'm a little worried. We have a situation where Alex is moving up to heavyweight. He's a big dude, bro. Like I don't think that this is an issue of weight at all. By the way, the fact that no one has corrected me at all. I don't know if this is a recent update or I have just been wrong this entire time. I swear for the longest time, heavyweight was 225 to 265. But apparently, that shit now is 206 to 265. So if you're a little over, that's fine. That's a huge jump for me. What's
the video game say?
I think it's 225.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I want to say so. Create a fighter when you get home and see what it says. When you get the bar and you just keep going up in weight and then it changes the weight class. Just see what you get to.
Because I made Big Ariel as a heavyweight. He's 215.
Oh, okay. So maybe it has been this whole time. Maybe it has been this whole time, and I've been wrong. Either way, I don't think that the weight is going to be that much of an issue for him, and I do think the power will carry over for him. The issue that I have with this one is, let's go kickboxing-esque thinking. They're both very agile fighters. They're both light on their feet to an extent. I wouldn't say really Alex, more so Cyril Gane. Alex is a little bit more like steady-footed, but I'm worried this is going to be like heavyweight point fighting. Like Alex is going to be scared to, or not Alex, Cyril's going to be scared to engage with Alex off the fear of like the power. Or maybe he goes in there cocky that he's like, no, I'm the real heavyweight. Like, who's this guy?
Fuck out of here.
He didn't beat nobody, bro. I poked him, Honestly, I want to like Cyril Gane.
Me too.
But there's been so many situations where he's been on the opposite side of like, I'm just like, get out of here, bro.
But he was in that movie that I was trying to recommend to you, the MMA movie.
The one that was like
France or something.
Yeah.
The French Friday.
On Netflix, right?
On Netflix.
Yeah. I got it. It's on my list. I added it.
GSP's in it.
Yeah.
You got freaking Cyril Gane.
I'm gonna watch it at some point.
Bunch of French motherfuckers.
That doesn't mean he should get a belt. That's all I'm
no,
saying.
not at all. Not at all, bro. I'm not a fan of him at all.
I'm not gonna say that. I'm a fan of his. I think that he can have good moments. The issue that I have with Cyril Gane is I feel like at this point he has gotten a lot of opportunities off of just being able to slightly beat some not very competitive heavyweights.
You know what it was? Is like you let old ass John Jones go into the heavyweight division and choke you out like a kid.
Yeah,
bro. This is someone that's
a lot of stock gone.
Yeah, that's a lot of stock gone. Bro, you're literally, this dude is at an old age gonna technically get out of shape, become a heavyweight, try to get in shape because he can't freaking cut no more or want to, and literally still dominate. If you see the physique pause on Cyril Gane, there's no way.
But that's this. No, listen. We've had this conversation before.
It doesn't make sense.
There's now. I think UFC has officially let me know physique doesn't mean anything. Honestly, at this point, most of the guys that you see that they're like shredded and that's like the thing that is talked about the most is like the physique and the way that they look. They're never that good. I also find that their cardio is always trash. Like, if anything, I see that and I bet the other way.
Right.
Like, most of the time I bet the other way. I don't know what it is. I just feel like it looks impressive, but I don't think that translates into the skills that you have in the octagon.
Things like fighting, especially technique, is so important.
For sure.
Like it's like skill and technique will take you further. Like,
and even when we're leaning into heavyweights, also it doesn't translate into power either.
It's a lot of like jack motherfuckers can't fight.
Yeah, you also find out that there's just like I feel like maybe there's a knowledge gap. You focus too much time on one thing versus the other. Your strength and conditioning might be there, but you're not focusing your time on actually learning the
And
technique.
then there's this kid that's been freaking doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu since he was 5 years old in Muay Thai.
Yep.
And he didn't lift a damn weight his whole
And now
life.
you're getting folded like a lawn chair, and your entire leg is snapped in half.
Yeah.
R.I.P. to you and your femur. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, right. The
So-
femur is crazy.
I think, honestly, for me, I think Alex is going to get that belt, and I think he's going to get his triple champ status that he wanted. We're going to see a really cool moment in Cyril Gane. Maybe we'll get another title shot later on this year. But I'm intrigued. Well, honestly, that's what I'm intrigued to see, because now Waldo's going to fight Volkov. Like I said, lingering. Volkov was in the midst for like, hey, you kind of got screwed out of the win against Cyril Gane. A lot of people thought it was supposed to go to Volkov. So Dana was like, I'm going to take care of you. It's been a while. I guess this is him taking care of him. I don't think so. But Waldo and him are going to fight. You know, Waldo will win, obviously. Dominican Power. Once he wins, title shot. It has to be. But that's going to be crazy to think. Chama versus Waldo?
I can't. I don't even want the fight to happen as great as, you know what I'm saying? Not because I feel like.
Alex signed for an 8-fight deal. It's going to happen.
He's going to be heavyweight a long time, bro. I can't see myself going against Chama, and I can't see myself going against Waldo.
No, but that's going to be one of those, like, I've had it at least. I feel like for the most part, you end up picking somebody or the other. I've said it several times where I've been like, yo, I'm going to say this is one where I can't pick a fighter. I'm just going to enjoy the fight, and I hope they both win. Like, I've said it several times for a couple of these fights. Max and Charles, I was like that. I was like, the bias slightly leans towards Charles when I was picking the fight, but it was both of them were my favorite fighters. Like, I can't. You're having me pick between both. Like, I don't know, man.
Honestly, I don't know if I can even picture Waldo knocking out Alex Pereira.
No, but imagine.
Yeah, that would be
like listen,
the greatest. Because at this point, you're heavyweight champion, triple champion. You're close to greatest of all time.
Yeah, yeah.
Or at least, like, I feel like everybody.
Arguments could be made.
Yeah. If for Waldo to just come in here and just fuck it up. Oh, this is your greatest of all time? Ah.
He's never been at one Dominican before in his life.
Yeah.
Yo, that would be insane. But honestly, listen, stranger things have happened, and this is a future that possibly could be. I'm telling you, he gets to Volkov. That's next. And like we just spoke about, it's going to be a long time before Tom is back. I don't think that he's going to be here by the end of this year. And Alex is most likely going to be a little bit active. So we'll get most likely at least one more fight out of him. If it were to happen, it's going to be whoever the winner of that one is. Unless John Jones and the UFC can get along, but it doesn't seem like that he's going to fight again.
He's done.
So, I don't know, man.
I see
Chama and Waldo. That's what I see.
I see that in the future for sure.
I'd be up pondering my orb, and that's what the orb shows me.
Yeah.
It shows me no Chama versus Dominican Power. That's all I'm saying. Sean O'Malley versus Eamon Zahabi. I think here's the problem with this one. Nothing against Eamon Zahabi. I'm a fan. I think he's a good fighter. I think he will get his moments, and I think he'll have a shot. Again, if this was another card that wasn't Freedom 250, I think this would be a good fight. Corey Sandhagen should have had the spot.
He should have.
110%. You called this one, too. You were like, Corey Sandhagen should be on this card.
He should be.
And that's the spot right there.
And the only thing with this is, like, I don't mean to bring this up, but where's dude from?
Who? Eamon Zahabi?
Yeah.
Hey, man. The worst. Canada.
Oh.
The most un-American. No, I'm playing. Not the worst. I've actually never been to Canada. But, yeah, he's Canadian.
Canadian?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Never mind.
Yeah.
So that's just...
Yeah, no, you heard the name and you immediately assumed, and that says a lot about you and your character, sir. And I gotta say, I frown upon that behavior.
I was trying to see what the matchmaking. Why did
he's just a good bantamweight. He is in terms of like ability.
This was like Sean O'Malley. He's a star. Let's keep him a star.
I think it is in terms of skill match. I think that this is one where if this stays a striking matchup, I think Sean O'Malley has the better chance to knock out Eamon. But I don't think it's one of those things. I really think that's what I was talking about earlier when it came to this card. I really think that they went away from the whole America situation. Like, I think that they didn't do that at all. I think that they were just like, no, we're going to just give you some really badass fights. If some of them happen to be American, great. If they don't, it's whatever. Because, like, we were talking about, like, way before when we were building up into talking about this, the card can't be stacked with Americans. There aren't that many good Americans, unfortunately. They just don't get there.
There's only a few American superstar or stars.
Even then, I would say
Sean O'Malley, we got to keep there.
Barely. I would say Sean O'Malley lost a lot of stock.
Yeah,
a lot of stock.
And this is him winning in front of all these Americans watching on TV.
Hopefully.
Well, he needs to win.
Hopefully.
This is one like, yo, you need to win this so you can continue being a star.
Yeah.
Because if they gave him Corey's
the Sandhagen, I think that would have been a much harder matchup for him for sure.
It would have ruined his career.
Yeah,
he would have. We just think about it. He just lost twice in a row to Merab.
I think he could beat Corey though. Like listen, I'm telling you right now, that's a good matchup. I think he could beat him, but I do favor Corey in that one.
I think that's just next. We need to okay. We don't want to cut it short. He just got that dub after losing all those. So now it's like, okay, he's still not someone, he's not overrated.
Right.
But now we got to see him get another dub.
He's got to
really build back up to his superstar intro.
Yeah. I think the loss against Merab took a little bit of shine off of him.
Too.
But I think he has a path to get back. I think the fact that now that Peter Yan is the champion, you also have a little bit more of a situation where it's like, all right, they fought before. He performed well. Now he has a path to get back into, like you said, the superstardom. But I do think I think the shine kind of wore off a little bit to the point where even he on his own podcast has been talking about it. He's like, I'm a little washed right now. So he acknowledges where he's at in his spot, and he is where you say he is. You need to get a win. You need to perform well. You need to get like a highlight reel knockout.
At the White House.
Let's get you back up there. At the White House.
Think about it. That's like that.
Freedom 250.
Think about, is it in Sonic? No, Mario Kart. When you go over the shits and it makes you go faster.
Yeah.
So this is like one of those where like White House is an event that will boost him back up. You know how he kind of like fell off stock? It will not just like make him go up a little bit. It will just boost him back to like superstardom.
True. I hope so because I like Sean O'Malley. I feel like he is one of the more marketable stars. I feel like he's somebody that breaks through the mainstream, but he definitely has to perform in there. But you do also, I'm gonna be honest with you, he's at a point right now where he can do well. He can get some crazy highlight reel knockouts, but the two performances actually against Merab, I feel like linger over like knowing he has a weakness. It's the same thing where like going into the next one, Mauricio Hoofy versus Michael Chandler with Hoofy or Roofy. You have the problem with him of like he went up against Benoit Saint-Denis. You saw that he against a wrestler doesn't know what to do. Yeah. So now you have that overwhelming sense of like, yo, if he goes up against a wrestler, it doesn't matter how insane a spinning heel kick to the temple can be. Yeah. If you can't get up to land that, who cares? Him versus Michael Chandler on this White House card. This one I feel like is a little bit of a layup to Michael Chandler. As much as people are like leaning the other way because of how much of a insane striker Mauricio is, I do feel like Michael Chandler, stick to the wrestling, get your win, and
to the
keep
game plan against that dub.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because you want him to have like the type of performance he normally has, where it's like exciting, throw himself to the win, and just see what kind of like car crash can come out of it. But I think he needs a win, and I think he needs to fight this one smart.
Yeah, it could be a USA dub right there.
It could be, but that's what I'm saying. He just goes with it with a good game plan. He fights smart, and he just gets a nice clean dub. If he wants to maybe try ground and pound, if he can control Roofy on the ground,
like Kurt Angle.
I think that's why I like Michael Chandler. As much hate as he gets, I feel like that's what I enjoy.
Like the two wrestling.
Yeah. With a broken freaking neck. Yeah. I wanted the White House with a broken. That could have been Kayla Harrison. She could have said the exact same thing with a broken freaking neck.
Kayla Harrison's
prayers up to Kayla Harrison.
I forgot about
honestly, she would have been on this one.
She would have been.
Her versus Amanda Nunes is the third one on here. Would have been crazy because then they would have had that would have been 3 title fights on one card.
Yeah,
that would have been another one they would have been able to have. But have you seen the scar?
What?
The scar for Kayla Harrison's surgery?
Oh yeah, like somebody slit her throat,
dude.
Bro.
It is, and it's like down her neck. Like it's
it's
bad.
I thought it was
no, and it's like a big one. Like I don't like it. I don't get it all. I
I
don't
could have went through the other side.
the fact that they had to go to the front of the there's no way to talk about this, but the fact that they had to go to the front of her throat is crazy. I hope she's good. I hope she's good. I hope we see the fight, but I don't know, man. We talk about Tom Aspinall.
She's losing to Amanda Nunes.
We talk about Tom Aspinall, but that scar and just that surgery process, I feel like that's going to be a while before we see Kayla Harrison.
There's no way that she can beat Amanda Nunes now.
I don't know. We'll see. Amanda took a while off, so you have the whole thing. Yeah. So you have the whole thing of her being out, and then you have Kayla now having to go into rehab. So, you just put stock in that.
You know, the Brazilian women, they
got the acai, they got the powers.
Yeah.
I feel like Michael Chandler, we'll see if he's able to pull off a win, but if not, Mauricio, honestly, I wouldn't mind him getting a dub, and I think Michael Chandler had his moments, I feel like, when he came over from Bellator, and now I'm like, all right, I'm off Michael Chandler a little bit. He didn't get the Conor fight that was supposed to happen. I feel like, all right, we're good.
Move on.
I think we're fine.
Every time I've seen him, he's lost.
Yeah. So I think at this point we're like, okay.
Every time I've seen a full fight of his, he's lost.
And then who else we got? Oh, damn. This one, I think that this one gets a lot of shade, but I feel like is low-key going to be a good fight. Bo Nickel versus Kyle Dawkins.
Bo Nickel.
Yeah. You had to throw Bo Nickel on there.
He's here for America.
Yeah, he's big USA. That's a name you had to throw on there just to represent the US.
You know who he reminds me of?
Who?
You know the meme where, like, well, it could be any dude's doing an interview, the military dude, and something's going on. He has to take the mic off, and
he
runs full
Bro, that's
Prince
like
Harry.
Prince Harry. Yeah.
That's who. I feel like Bo Nickel is that guy.
Okay.
It's the American
version of that. Yeah. You're gonna ask me if Prince Harry was American?
No. Okay. Is he redheaded?
Oh, no. Well, is he?
I don't know.
He's like blonde, redheaded kind of. I don't know, man. But I get what you mean.
Yeah, he looked like
the energy he brings.
Yeah, he looked like.
I think he's big USA all day. Obviously, a huge wrestling background. I think that Kyle Dawkins is honestly a pretty good fighter from the fights that I've seen. He's definitely a guy that I feel like he's big, like Apex random fight night is when I'll see him, and I'm like, oh, he's doing all right. Sometimes he wins, but he's definitely somebody that does work. I think with Bo Nickel, he's somebody that belongs on the Apex and fight nights kind of cards. So this is one of those fights where I feel like Bo Nickel, off the name and the strength of that, is why he's on here. Kyle Dawkins finessed his way on here, so shout out to him. Honestly, I hope he wins. I'm leaning to Kyle Dawkins in terms of full bias. I like Bo Nickel, but I feel like that would just be really funny.
Did Bo Nickel just lose recently in that wrestling thing?
What in the what is it? RAF? I don't know. I gotta check that out and see. I'm not too sure about that one.
I don't know. I feel like he wrestled someone like known as well.
I mean, maybe
he was on.
I think that'd be really funny if he lost against somebody in wrestling. I feel like that's his whole thing. Like everybody talks about his wrestling, and I know he's been doing a lot more like stand-up striking when it comes to the UFC. But I feel like if he lost in an official wrestling match, I'd be like, what are we hyping here? What are we talking about? That's a little whack.
Wasn't Armin Sarukian?
Nah, I don't know. Check it out and see. And then to open up the card, this one, honestly, banger. Diego Lopez versus Steve Garcia. That's going to be a scrap. Listen, Diego Lopez, I think at this point we already acknowledge is going to go in there, leave everything he can into the octagon. He's going to go balls to the wall. Against Volkanovski, we've obviously seen that there's levels to this game, and he's not able to get to that level where he's going to get title. Unfortunately, Volkanovski somehow has managed to stay youthful and beat almost every single contender not named Ilia Topuria. I don't know how he does it. He's probably going to continue doing it, but we're not going to give Diego too much slack on that one. I'm still a fan. I feel like he definitely goes in there and gives exciting fights. So he's somebody that you definitely want to open up a card like this where you just want the energy to start off in a good way. And if you want to talk about somebody that'll match him in that, maybe not a name if you're not watching like that, but Steve Garcia throws down, bro. Every fight that I've seen him in, he is nothing but a scrapper. I'm talking boxing is crisp. He is in the fight. I'm getting in a telephone booth. You want to talk about like BMF again? Maybe not that big of a name if you just throw the name out there. I'm not going to lie to you. All due respect, Steve Garcia. Very generic. That sounds like a creative fighter. But definitely a very skilled fighter. I would definitely check out his highlights. You're going to see that that's going to be a fight that I think is going to be slept on. It's going to be, unless you know, if you know, that's going to be one of those kind of fights. When you open up the card with something like that, it's going to build the excitement. I'm not going to lie to you. I see this going from like really hype to then maybe taking a dip down with the Bo Nickel and Kyle Dawkins. Yeah. But even that one I think might turn out to be a little bit more exciting than people think. Bo Nickel just doesn't do the wrestling thing. He's like Justin Gaethje. He's like, I can wrestle, but why use that when it's good? I know it'll help me win, but why do that when I can do the fun thing? So I hope the card overall is exciting.
I think it will be better than... Because the ones, this is how it is. It's like the ones that you don't expect are the best ones.
Yeah. But I think that's the problem with these ones. Is that
was good.
This one was one that you hyped up so much, but I think it was more so the name value that you were going to get out of it. Now the name value necessarily isn't there. Maybe the expectations die down and people realize it's a good card as is, and we actually get some good fights out of it. Like you said, the ones you don't think about, the sleeper ones, maybe they are the best ones. So maybe if people are disappointed and they decide to tune in and they don't have super like high expectations, they're like, yo, this one actually came out pretty fire.
Yeah.
At least that's the hope for me. So we'll see. Then the competitor, in my opinion, to this one, I don't know if I necessarily say that fully, but it seems like that's the world's opinion on it. MVP's Most Valuable Promotions has now put on Netflix's first MMA card.
Crazy.
This is a big one because Netflix is like very creepily snuck its way into sports. I feel like it's every now and then hitting you with something here and there, but they haven't fully launched like a sports platform, I feel like. And now they're putting on their first MMA card. Granted, it's not like their own promotion. It's promoted through MVP, but we've already seen MVP do a lot of boxing events and things of that nature, getting some big names together and being able to put on like a pretty good show overall. Maybe not necessarily the best fights, but I would say like pretty good product.
I'm just impressed that they even got the Netflix deal.
Yeah, and I mean, the names that got on there, I feel like were part of the reason that I think that they had Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano, like they already like kind of in the books that they were like, hey, this is who we're coming to you with, and these are the fights that we're planning on getting. And Netflix was like, okay, this sounds interesting enough to us that we can sign up for it.
I'm gonna keep it a buck.
Yep.
I don't want to be no hater.
You can be.
I can be if I want to, but I won't.
You have a microphone, my friend.
I got a voice. So if I worked at Netflix.
Yeah.
And MVP came to me like, yo, we got a hell of a card. We're working on this, and that. We haven't finalized anything, but we did finalize Ronda Rousey versus the other girl.
Yep, Gina Carano.
Gina Carano, that our Ariel does not know who it is.
Fair.
Do you think I drop a bag on this event? Netflix. You work at Netflix.
I feel like you do, and I know that. Like, listen,
is Ronda Rousey
I'm not gonna lie to you.
Big a name?
So hear me out. So hear me out. Research also done on my part before my time as well. Two of the biggest names in women's MMA, off name value alone, already has a lot of interest, especially because they're returns. Ronda Rousey, obviously, you know who she is. She had her run in the UFC. She also had her run in WWE, etc. Now you have Gina Carano, also very well-known MMA fighter, has fought in a couple different organizations. For the fans, I feel like the hardcores, this is something that they've kind of thought about for a while, but is one of those fights that never came to fruition. So that's what kind of already got up, like some talk through it. So the fact that like a post on Instagram, for example, can blow up so much where people are like so excited over the names alone. I think that does some intrigue. I think Netflix has their way of kind of like testing the waters to see how much intrigue this could possibly bring in. Yeah. And they probably had talks with them already to kind of see where the interest in terms of the general public would be.
If I'm I need to hear that Francis fight.
Well, I need to hear that as well. Like, they didn't have that one then.
So I didn't hear both of them to make that shit.
I'll go through the card, and honestly, some of these, like, listen, some of these names even I don't know, but we're gonna go through them anyway. Ronda Rousey versus Gina Carano, Francis Ngannou versus Felipe Lins, Nate Diaz versus Mike Perry, which I think is gonna be the best one of the entire night. Personally,
100%. You know he's gonna be leaking. Nate Diaz is gonna. He's one of those freaking. That scar tissue is gonna open up, and he's just gonna be leaking off a little jab.
I hope. I just hope that the fight like is a good one, and it's not like some doctor stoppage nonsense.
Yeah.
Jason Jackson versus Lorenz Larkin, Junior Dos Santos versus Robles de Spain. Robles Spain is that like 6'7" Cuban dude that was in the UFC that then went to karate combat. Junior Dos Santos, by the way, left the UFC. I don't know if you know this, but he's been on a bare knuckle tear. I don't know. He's been on a side quest going bare knuckle. He never stops, so shout out to him. Muhammad Mokaev versus Adriano Moraes. This is one that I've heard being talked about in terms of like skill level is going to be one of the more technical fights in terms of these guys are actually very good. I think they're not, I don't think they're lightweights, like featherweights. They're the lighter guys. But in terms of their weight classes, they're a lot more skillful. Muhammad Mokaev, I don't know if you remember him. He was in the UFC for a bit, but had some really boring fights. Like, he's undefeated, but he's had some really boring fights. UFC let him go. He was a bit of an asshole. His last fight, he had like, I think like 2 or 3 times the ref had to interfere because of the way he was like grabbing the fence and doing just a lot of like fouls and such. He's just not very liked. I'm going to be honest with you. He left. He still had success, but again, not a lot of people were really liking him. So let's see if he can change the opinions of the crowd and maybe people get back on his bandwagon. He gets back in the UFC because I think that's his end goal.
Feels like a UFC revenge tour.
Kinda. Kenneth Cross versus Saladin Parnasse. I butchered that. Where's the shot? Justin, wherever you are, saving the city, pull up. Jade Mason Wong versus Alice Pereira. Alex Pereira's sister, also karate combat.
Hell yeah.
David Moyen versus Nemo Fazil, and Chris Avila versus opponent to be determined because they haven't announced that yet. At least as of right now, that seems to be the card standing as of today, March 24th. No. It is coming up. It is coming up soon. But
you got the fighting?
I ain't gonna lie to you. They have the majority of the card. If I had to guess, I was most likely that they had an opponent. And that person like fell out like right before they announced everything, so they had to just make a last minute change. I would say overall, like, a lot of good names that are going to have a lot of people tune in. I think that we're going to have some competitive fights. I'm intrigued to see how Francis does. I feel like that's somebody that always has a lot of intrigue. I agree with you. I think that if most people were to get like, hey, we have Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano, are you willing to sign on and pay all this money? Then most likely we'll say no. But if you bring up a couple of the other names that you have on there, you might be able to sway their opinion a little bit more.
You had to have been like, we're in negotiations with Francis as well.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Because you have to figure that out. And what I'm intrigued to see, I know the Francis had like a lot of stipulations when it came to the PFL in terms of his pay. I wonder if he kind of put the same thing on Netflix. You remember when he first left and he went to the PFL, he was like, I get paid X million and my opponent also gets paid X million. Like, he negotiated for them on a regular. So like, I wonder if he had something similar to that, if he wanted to bring that same energy to this table. Francis seems to be somebody who's very much like, pay me, and he deserves every cent. So like,
it's crazy.
I want to know how much he's getting. Like, as much as anybody else in this card, I want to know how much Francis is getting paid, to be honest. Like,
I know. I never. It sucks because I never really experienced his greatness.
Really, dude. I
tuned in at the worst of
my first like Snapchat that I have of like watching a UFC is Francis flatlining Jairzinho Rosenstruck, like just no technique, just flurry of punches up against the cage, knocking him out. I remember watching him versus Alistair Overeem and just annihilate. I was like, oh my god, like Francis is like, that's when heavyweight was. Well, I'll tell you this. People will say like heavyweight was heavyweight like way before then, but like that's when heavyweight was still like, yo, you can throw anybody, they could have random names and they'll still be a good fight. Over the last like 3 or 4 years, I feel like it's very much gotten watered down, and now it's like, it's hard to watch. But I think back then that's when it was dope. Francis leaving, I think, really like
changed everything.
I wouldn't say even change it, just like sealed the deal. Like, I would say even by the time he was near its end, like, his big fights was fighting like a Stipe, who people were already like, yeah, he's out the door. So like, you have those moments where it's like he's getting these big name fights, but like the caliber of fight maybe isn't really there. So
it was like a point where it was like Francis, the Africans ran the whole shit.
Kind of, yeah. There was like a huge push,
Usman,
but they had
Adesanya.
That's when they had like the Three Kings era. Like, that's, I would say, when a lot of these divisions had a lot of big name fighters that now we're seeing kind of getting phased out. So, like, for example, you're having Kamaru Usman, who isn't fighting as often. He most likely has 1 or 2 fights left. Francis is already gone. Izzy, who is kind of on a losing streak. We're trying to figure out what's going on with him.
He's fighting next week.
He's fighting this week, actually.
This week.
We'll get into that. You're having situations like that where, like, those names are now fading out, and we're trying to get this new crop. But I think, like we were speaking earlier about Sean O'Malley, it's difficult where you're not getting these stars that are able to stay in that kind of limelight. It's rare you have somebody like an Ilya Taporia that has managed to, like, get the crowd and say and do what he's going to do. Like, he's going to back up his words, is what I meant to say. Yeah, I think they have a star problem. I think they keep putting on, like, big moments, but I think a lot of fatigue over the UFC in general. I think a lot of people are just kind of like, yo, where are these big name stars that get us to tune in that are, like, yo, just carrying their division? But they'll get there. Yeah. I think they're just in a rough patch right now. There's a lot of younger guys and a lot of guys that we see that are on the prelims and on fight nights. That's what we say, don't sleep on the prelims, because, like, this is where you see these people, like, building their base and then getting there. So we'll get there. Overall, I think that the Netflix card, I feel like, is intriguing enough to get people to tune in. I think especially because, like, it seems like everybody and their mama has Netflix, so you're willing to just tune in for, like, I guess you can call it free because, like, you don't have cable anymore, but you got subscriptions. But, like, pretty much at this point for free. It's the same thing we were talking about when the UFC went to Paramount. We're like, easy enough for you to get in there. You don't gotta watch it how you gonna watch it no more, you know.
I'm gonna watch it how I'm gonna watch it, but it's Paramount now
for sure. I think that this is going to be a situation where we're seeing a new player just kind of test the waters. I don't think that a lot of people should start putting a whole lot of energy into Netflix taking over the UFC and this being the whole new thing. I don't think it's going to be like that.
I didn't expect so, but you're going to definitely, after this event, see a lot more MVP events.
For sure. And I think a lot more MMA events are going to be popping up with random people promoting them just to have these one-offs. There's a lot of legendary names that, like, are either free agents or maybe they'll sign on to something for, like, 2 fights or something like that. They'll do I don't even know. Nobody's really, I feel like, going to, like, PFL and signing, like, hard contracts to go fight for belts or anything like that. But you seeing them, they're doing, like, the RAF wrestling things. They're doing, maybe they'll get into bare knuckle. Some people are doing jiu-jitsu. The karate combat is getting a couple of UFC guys going over there. So you can start seeing a couple more of these events starting to pop up. I feel like they're, like, one of the things I wanted to talk about that we have for later on, but we can just bring it up now. Jorge Masvidal having a UFC return. He mentioned that they reached out, the Netflix card reached out to him to be on that Netflix card, and the UFC, who still has him under contract, they declined it because they still have plans for him. So do you see that they're trying to reach out to these people that, like, hey, see if the UFC is willing to let you fight for us? Now you have situations where guys like John Jones, who's trying to get paid, the UFC says that they want, that he's not going to fight again. Maybe he's still in the contract. Maybe he can leave and go do something like this. Maybe that's how we see him versus Francis.
Damn.
I think the UFC would block that off the strength of, like, nah, you're not doing this outside of here.
We weren't able to pull it off, so you can't.
Yeah, I think that they would be that petty. But who knows? Now that we know that, like, that Dana White isn't necessarily the one pulling the strings, who knows who really has that much of an issue? And the fact that they have, like...
I'm telling you right now, I'm going to still pretend.
Yeah?
I'm gonna pretend like I didn't.
No, it's always Big Dana. If my stream goes down, Dana White got us.
Yeah.
You know, right. It's always
Dana got us again.
It's always Big Dana is watching over us all. He's making sure that everyone is behaving correctly.
Calls the FBI when people are watching it, how they watch
Federal fucking prison. It's still gonna be him no matter what. I think he's the Vince McMahon of it all. Like, he goes away, the product is completely different now. I don't care that he's not necessarily the one making all the matches, but it makes sense. Like, it's a lot of work for one person to do. Yes. And if we're talking about an entire card that's usually 11 to 13 fights or something like that, you can't expect the man to be on talking about some random dude on the early prelims. No. I can see him coming in and negotiate the top 3 guys in the division, figuring that stuff out. But everybody else, that can be divided and kind of split amongst the rest. But I don't know. I think for me, I'm not going to lose faith in the product. I think that we're still going to get a lot of cool fights and a lot of cool cards, regardless of, like, maybe the UFC losing star talent to other places that might be paying a little bit more, just off the strength that, like, this Netflix card, like I said, I think it's gonna be a one-off. Maybe we'll see it again at another point in time, but, like,
Yeah.
Off of this one, do you really think how many rematches people are going to want to see? Or maybe they want to see some of these fighters fight again, but that's when they get scooped up by other people, you know?
I just see it has to be somebody worth making another card for.
It does. If you get these guys to have some success, and if they can have success in other places. So, for example, the Nate Diaz versus Mike Perry. Mike Perry was in the UFC near his end of his career. Was a known guy, but I wouldn't say he had a lot of fame and a lot of like people wanted to watch him like that.
Yeah.
Goes over to bare knuckle. He's a superstar now. Like, now he's bringing in all these eyeballs from bare knuckle and all the people on social media that are watching him off of that coming over here, and they're going to tune into the Netflix card to watch him fight who? Nate Diaz, who has a UFC.
Bare knuckle, freaking.
So we'll see how it goes, man.
It's going to be leaking.
It's going to be bad. You know, apparently, Jorge was supposed to fight Nate on that one. So you see how they're trying to let's do BMF, run it back, but in another organization. So they can be a little tricky. I don't know, man. What it is you're gonna find out a lot of these fighters that are stuck in UFC contracts, whether or not they can get out. You have people like Dustin Poirier talking about going to go box. Is the UFC gonna let you go box?
Yeah.
How many fights you still have under them? You said you wanted to retire. You're done. Like, you're not fighting anywhere else.
I've retired MMA.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Let me box.
Because I don't even know they'll let him fight in. He said Dana has already made it a hard no to MMA guys fighting in Zuffa. That's absolutely not.
For real?
But I don't know if that doesn't mean that they can go fight for Turkey Al Sheikh somewhere else. You know, if they can go fight for another organization entirely in boxing, if that'll be allowed. But I think they have to get into the negotiation of that, of like, hey, are you willing to let me go? That's why I'm intrigued to see what happens with John Jones the next year, because we already knew he had like one fight left, maybe two. Who's gonna, after 2 years of sitting around, is anybody really gonna want? I know he's the GOAT and everything like that, but
I think he fights again only because Dana White. I think was it Dana White that was making fun of like this guy doesn't even have hips, and all that, and look at him playing flag football. I think him hearing that, is like, watch.
That's now we're getting into the talks of can he get out of his contract?
Maybe it's with the UFC.
I don't know. From what I gather, it seems like he asked for a certain amount. They said yes, and then he didn't accept the offer, even though they said yes to the amount that he asked for. That was supposedly a ridiculous amount.
Okay.
Then they were like, okay, you don't want to fight on that? Cool. We're going to do this one instead. He goes, wait a minute. I'll actually fight on that one. I didn't know you were going to do that. And they're like, cool. Here's half of what you asked for initially. He's like, no, I'm the greatest. Pay me more. And they're like, no, you didn't want to fight. Here's half. He said no. And they're like, all right, we're good. We're done. To me, that's what this entire thing went like. It seems like he genuinely had an offer and he walked away from it. Now the UFC's like, all right, you didn't want to play ball the first time. We're not playing ball no more. And if you don't want to do anything with us,
he gets the Tom Aspinall fight now that he has no eyes. What if he's like, you know what? I didn't want to take it before, but now I will because I know I'm gonna win.
No, I think even then, I think the issue here is that the UFC is going to be willing to offer him the fight, but they're going to lowball the shit out of him in terms of price. Yeah. And I think for him now, he's not willing to go under a certain amount. But I don't know. I'm hearing a lot of back and forth. I'm hearing a lot of like he was willing to take a pay cut just to fight on the White House card because of like the legendary status of being able to say you fought on it. But I don't know if that's true because you also have Dana White that's like, I'm not negotiating with John Jones.
He is the most American black man in America.
I think this is your best episode so far. I ain't gonna lie to you. I've been a fan. I don't know, man. I've been enjoying this conversation.
But I just feel like if you
everybody like, share, and subscribe, by the way.
If you think about John Jones,
yeah,
you think American.
Yeah. He chased people out of his house with the guns. Like,
bro,
he's having run-ins with the police.
You got the shotgun. Running out the crib, chasing someone out barefoot.
Fighting people, killing them in the cage. Yeah. Salute.
Bro, he's so cool, bro.
You see John Jones, that's when you hear fun fact, it's not a bald eagle that you hear in the screech, it's a hawk. But the bald eagle looks better. I don't know, it's the whole thing. But you hear that in the fighter jets when you see John Jones. I agree. I think that he definitely is when you think American fighters specifically, you think John Jones, and I think that he should have been on the White House card, but it seems like they just weren't able to come to an agreement with that. So I don't know.
You know the amount of viewers you're gonna get every time a John Jones fight comes around.
And that's why I'm surprised that they weren't able to break bread and make it work. But it seems like there was just, I don't know. I'm hearing mixed signals right now. I'm hearing that John Jones is like, we were in negotiations, and Dana White was like, no, we weren't. So I don't know, man.
I think they were.
I think that they were. And I think that Dana White at this point does what he does best. And when things don't go his way, he's burning that bridge and letting him know that the other person was the one that messed up. It's kind of the same thing what he's doing with Francis, where like he's doing this weird, like shady things where he's like, Francis is not the guy you guys think he is. He's actually an asshole, blah, blah, blah. Like low key insinuating that he got threatened by Francis, like stuff like that, where you're like, you weren't saying all this stuff a bit ago. Now you guys can't make a good deal. And he's talking about money over there and fighter pay.
Definitely.
And now you have a problem.
Francis is like, I think it's a. I'm not a fan, but I can be.
Yeah.
Might be too late. I might have missed my chance, but
I get what you mean. I think what it is that you came in at a point where you're seeing him having difficulties with a company, and now you're seeing is kind of the image being painted of him being like a disgruntled employee in a way.
And he got knocked out by dude.
Yeah, that is true. Anthony Joshua.
Joshua's like, bro. Anthony Joshua did knock out Jake Paul.
I saw the rise of Francis being like one of the scariest heavyweights I have ever seen in my entire life, and just a scary human being in general. And that's why I was saying things like with Sergey Pavlovich when he was on his tear, just murdering people. I was like, "Yo, that's the Russian Francis right there. Like that guy is like on that level because that's what you saw. You got to see that guy murdering people. Francis was doing what he was doing, but quicker. And that's where you're like." Whoa, like that's when you're like, okay, that's scary. And then you got to see the evolution of Francis, where it wasn't just that, but you got to see him be calculated. First fight against Stipe did not go his way. Second fight against Stipe, much more calculated. What people called calm Francis. That's when it was like, Jesus Christ, he's just calculated murder. Because it's not like I said, Max Holloway pepper shots with the jab. The jab is a piston. Bang! Like he is hurting you. That's a big dude. Like that's what I'm saying. Like that's where you wanted to see these big fights. You wanted to see Francis in the UFC, him versus Tom Aspinall.
Stipe's career too.
Yeah, Stipe I caught also in the later half, but I always like to do my let me go back and let me see like greatest moments, and you get to see because you always connected to like the MMA math and who they fought. I've seen DC fight, and I've seen DC having some really insanely cool moments. Then I saw DC versus Stipe, and I saw Stipe beat DC, and I was like, oh. So then I was like, that's cool. Let me go back and check out this guy. Yeah. So then you start seeing his career, like, this guy's
Did DC
super
beat or fight Francis at any point?
No. He's like, I'm good. He got out before that. He made the right move. He got out. He got out like right before Francis was like about to get there. He made the right decision. He said it himself. He's like, yeah, I made the right. Although I'm gonna be honest with you, if we're talking like prime for prime, I think DC would have been the smart thing, and he would have just wrestled him to death and just taking care of business. Also, did you watch Francis versus Cyril Gane? The fact that like he had just destroyed knees. He's like, I've never done this before, but I'm gonna wrestle this dude. And he wrestled him 5 rounds, beat him. Like Francis is that guy. I'm a big fan.
I didn't see that one either.
No, I want Francis to have success everywhere he goes, and like how you say, you don't really buy into these guys until you get like their like character and you see like them on the embedded. You get to like see their personality. When I watched the Joe Rogan episode where Francis went on to talk about like his life story, and you find out like the amount of times that he had to like basically try to get into, I guess, France illegally, then he got kicked out, and he had to come back. He was in jail. He had to go through all these hardships just to get to where he was at now.
I've seen a movie like that.
They should make a movie like that.
Like the beginning part at least. Where, like,
I mean, probably.
Someone trying to get from Africa to France. Well, I don't think it was France. I think it was British.
Find it and send it to me. Let me know.
Yeah.
But he definitely has like a really cool backstory as well. So I feel like his career in the octagon and then his life story outside, I feel like for me, like both of those things, like I'm a fan. So I feel like for him, he's somebody that I want to see have success anywhere he goes. And I really hope that he becomes or is just such a big star that the UFC can't help but get him back, because I do feel like we're in a space where if Dana White is speaking truth and John Jones isn't coming back, the next big fight for a Tom Aspinall is a Francis Ngannou. As much as I hate to say it, there's no big names in heavyweight, and Waldo, Hey, love you, bud. He's not that guy.
He's not,
To us, he's that guy.
But right now, I think he can beat Tom Aspinall with no eyes.
For no eyes, for sure.
Yeah.
If we were to book this fight for this weekend, 110%.
No, I'd be like, I don't see Tom Aspinall coming back and being as good as he was.
No. I just feel like injuries like that definitely take you some time to get back. Maybe even his first fight, he's a little gun shy because he's scared to get poked in the eyes again. I'm intrigued to see who his first matchup is, and he is going to be technically the previous champ, so I feel like he gets put in a title shot when he gets back. So hopefully it's against Waldo. Waldo's the defending champion, but we'll see. Out of both of those cards, though, White House or Netflix, which one are you more excited to see?
I'm more excited for the White House.
I think for most people, they're more excited for the White House. I think I will say the conversation as to how many people are going to tune into which one. I do think that the Netflix one gets a couple more casual views, but I think the White House card is going to get more of like throughout the whole thing they're watching.
The illest part is going to be like you have one on Paramount, you get the other one on Netflix.
Yeah. I will tell you this, too.
Accessible.
I'm looking at the names. I think people will like tune in and out of the Netflix card, too. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a degenerate. I'm going to watch the whole thing, but I can definitely see people being like, no, I'm only going to tune in for. I'll tell you right now, the biggest fights are Nate Diaz and Mike Perry, Francis Ngannou versus Felipe Lins, and Ronda Rousey versus Gina Carano. Other than that, if you're a hardcore, you're going to tune into Junior Dos Santos versus Robelis de Spain. Maybe Muhammad Mokaev versus Adriana Moraes is on there. Other than that, all the other ones, I think that people are going to watch them casually, but they're not big enough names that people are like, oh my God, you know?
Yeah.
So I think the UFC, Freedom 250 is definitely going to be the bigger one. All right. What else do we have to go over? Like I said, this episode's a lot of catching up. This has already been a lot.
Just in case Sean Strickland won and he's gonna fight again.
We've been going for a while. I know, right? We've been going for a while, so let's just run through this real quick so we can just wrap up because I feel like we just went through like a month's worth of stuff. Previous fight night recap. We are recording this so you guys know on what is today? Like Tuesday or something like that. We just had a fight night on Saturday.
Yeah.
Who was it? There we go, yeah. Movsvar Evloev beats Lerone Murphy. He's next for the featherweight championship against Volkanovski. Man, I don't know.
Good fight. That was a good fight, man.
Good fight, but I'm a little torn. I feel like scoring-wise, I can see where they went with Movsvar. I do think it was a good fight. I think Lerone Murphy still has a chance to stay in title contention. Yeah. Get another win, bud. You're back in there.
He fought well, man.
I don't think a lot of people are excited that it's Movsvar that's going up against him because it's not the fight they want to see, but who knows?
But the good thing is, like, in this fight, he kind of stood a lot of the fight. I know he tried to have a lot of takedowns, but
word on the street is the UFC got in his ear and was like, "Hey, bud, make this shit exciting. You want the title shot?" I don't know how true that is, but we have heard this before.
That was so close. I don't know. Like, Lerone Murphy had the most significant strikes.
No nut shot. Who gets it?
Because I think the nut shot pause is needed in this argument because that point taken away matters.
Yeah. Also, I will say to the ref, excellent job.
Yeah. Right.
Warning point immediately. Like perfect. That's the way it should be.
That was the second one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like the way he did it, I think that's the way he should do it.
That's how it should be done. Yeah.
He did. That's what I'm saying. The first one was a warning. The second one immediately was a point. You are seeing now eye pokes, nut shots, and all the other things. You get 45 warnings before maybe they take a point. It's like, bro.
It's just like. Also, he did get a bunch of takedowns, but I was just so impressed with how well he was getting up from the takedowns.
Yep.
He kept on standing up no matter what. Like for me, if you get like 50 takedowns, if you get right back up and do no damage,
it doesn't matter as much. No,
yeah.
That's why I always say I'm intrigued to see how that gets scored because I feel like you do get situations where guys may have like slight control, but you're not really doing a lot. So it's like are you just kind of holding it up. You know, and I think that's where we get situations where it's like I like the idea of like, yo, give them a few seconds and then get them off. Like if they're not really progressing anything, like you make them move. They have to stand back up, separate them, do something, stand them back up. Like, but don't let them just be in that position for too long. I guess pause to the entire sentence I just said.
For sure. and then like,
for sure.
Also, is it Evloev?
Yeah.
He inflicted a lot more damage on Murphy.
Mhm.
Yeah, he had him leaking the whole fight too.
Yeah.
I think that as much as like you try to score a fight, that has to like
Damage is always, I think, number one criteria. That's number one.
it must be like it has to be because like it's hard to not like see that first.
Yeah.
Like holy shit, one guy's leaking, one's not.
Damn.
First of
Nate
all,
Diaz always fights at a deficit. Then.
always, bro.
Yeah.
I
Damn.
think he's losing every time I watch him fight.
Yeah. And he'd be like, no, he's up on the scorecards. He'd be like, he looks like shit right now.
Yeah. It's like when they show the significant strikes, I'm like, I wasn't aware that like a lot of like the middle rounds were even close, but like the first round, Murphy was killing.
Yeah.
I don't know about the end.
A lot of people contesting kind of like a more so like near the end of the fight who should have gone round 4 and 5. I think for the most part, I rewatched highlights. I didn't rewatch the entire fight. I feel like I still score it for Movsvar. As much as I was leaning more towards Lerone Murphy, I just feel like Movsvar did a better job of, like you said, damage. And I feel like for the most part, he just seemed like more in control of the fight. Even though the takedowns weren't as, we'll say, dominant. Like he did. There wasn't as much time with control.
It did seem like
he just seemed like he held it together more. His game plan was more effective, if that makes any sense.
Definitely fought very Russian of him.
And again, like this was him seeming a little bit more on standing up. And I don't know if maybe it is that Lerone just wasn't able to be held down like that. So maybe he had to change up his game plan, or the UFC got to him and was like, "Hey, bud, make this a little exciting."
Them punches are strong, bro.
Yeah.
From Evloev,
Yeah.
bro. He really like anytime he lands a clean strike, it rocks him.
Is this like a surprising fight for you from him? Like this performance, was this something that you were like not expecting?
Only because in my head there's like 5 Evloevs.
Yeah, I get that. It's because we're not gonna sit here and act like most of his fights that we've seen so far, like he has his moments that can be somewhat exciting, but for the most part, he's not putting on exciting fights. There is a lot of wrestling just to hold you for a moment. Like they are controlling. He is a dominant fighter. He is getting an ungodly amount of wins in the UFC, which is very impressive. But at the same time, like this is what I'm saying. Like I don't think a lot of people were expecting this type of performance, but at the same time, I don't think people are still happy that he's the one that's getting the title shot. But you have to respect game, and he won.
Yeah, it was way too close to just. I think it should be like split decision.
Split decision, but I think either way, it still would have been like lean towards him. I think for right now, it seems like the public was surprised by his performance, and I think as we get closer to them actually booking the fight and whatnot, maybe we'll have a bit more of an argument as to why he should have gotten it.
But point taken. I
know.
How big is that point?
I think he's still winning though. I think even if the point wasn't, if the point wasn't taken, he still would have. It would have been even more of a reason for him to have won. Like you said, the damage alone, I think that kind of won him the fight. I feel like
then what about significant strikes then?
I don't know. We gotta see how this is layered down, man. Like I said, it's tricky. It's tricky because then I said,
value that more than the wrestling.
I think for me, I always in MMA, I always value striking more than I do anything else. I feel like that is like the most damage done. Yeah. Like control in terms of like the wrestling aspect and stuff like that is cool, but like I don't know, man, something about like you not really doing anything but then not trying to like progress. I guess for me, I don't really count that as you doing a whole lot, so I don't put a lot of value in it. But if your opponent isn't able to get out of that, so for example, Max and Charles, where Max wasn't really able to get out of it, those situations, then I'm like, all right, you're not. If we're giving you like numbers, I'm not giving you like a lot of points, but you got more points than this person, so I guess you won. You know, like that's the way I see it. It's like, yes, technically this person won, but I wouldn't necessarily say like you performed well. The other person just didn't perform better. That's the way I'll put it.
Right.
Yeah, it's a weird one. I'm here for it. I think that we all kind of assumed that Movsvar was going to get a title shot at some point. I thought it was interesting that he had to go against Lerone Murphy in the first place. I thought Lerone, with his exciting spinning spinning elbow win, was going to get a title shot.
Notice he tried to pull a Lerone Murphy on Lerone Murphy.
I mean, he needed
times.
Like I said, I think someone was like, "Yo, you need to do something."
Bro, he would attempt like a spinning freaking elbow for no reason.
Bro, you need something. You need,
bro, relax.
I think for him at this point, it is that he just needs like highlights. Like I think he just needs moments where he has good good looks. Yeah.
Like, throw some. I don't care if you're not in range. Just
Spinning shit, slam them if you can. Like, just something we could throw on a highlight reel so when you're doing the embedded against the champ, we can make it look like you're good. Like, I don't know, man. Like, you got to do something. The only other fight, listen, it's a good fight, good card, but we got to speed things up a little bit. The only one that I really wanted to give attention to, because I think overall the card was good, but the one that I want to talk to you about, MVP in his fight. So, MVP beats Sam Patterson via decision. People are calling this one of the most boring fights in UFC history.
It has to be.
So,
has to be.
Barely any strikes thrown, just kind of circling around each other in the octagon, waiting for the other person to throw, and nothing is really happening.
The most disappointing. To the point where it was like, how could you guys even come up with a winner?
Yeah,
I was thinking like, oh, how did he win?
Yeah, it's one of those things that points. So here's the gripe. MVP is a counter striker. His whole thing is like, you come at him, he's going to find a way to counter you, and he's going to land a clean strike, and he's going to try to knock you out. He does have wins by knockout. He is somebody who's trying to go for a knockout, but he needs you to basically press forward for him to be able to put his game into effect. If you do not enter into that mode, you then get what you see here, where no one is doing jack shit.
Nobody's doing nothing.
MVP at this point has won most of his fights in the UFC via decision. I think he only has like one loss in his UFC career, not his MMA, but just in the UFC. I think he's got one fight left on his contract. If it doesn't end in some insane knockout, question for you: does the UFC re-sign him? With what you've seen so far, because you've seen him coming over here, you've seen the whole thing, the way he fights, all the performances. Do you see the UFC giving them a reason for him to stay around?
That's tough, because he has like this style to him that's kind of like when he's striking, he could be exciting.
He could be exciting, but he needs the right opponent. And I think the problem that they're fighting right now is like, how hard do you have to kind of go to get the right opponent?
And he's someone that's like, you get the right opponent, he might get knocked out too.
He might get knocked out too.
Bro, like I noticed he did not put his hands up. No, nothing.
That's his style though. His whole thing is that when the guys that keep their hands low like that is because they want to strike from like very unpredictable angles. The same thing with King Green, where he's just like, I'm gonna keep my hands low. Yeah. I'm gonna keep moving my shoulders, bobbing and weaving, keeping off of range, and then that way I can throw some shit that you're not gonna know where it's coming from.
He's getting pieced up too, though.
Yeah. It's a dangerous game to play. I think I stand on the side where I think that they should re-sign him. Maybe not as many fights. Maybe they cut the amount of fights they put him on just to give him a little bit more of a trial run.
Ranking?
I think he's slowly moving up. I think he's got to be around like the 5 or 6 around at that point. Let's see where he's at.
7 or something.
Where are you? MVP. Michael Venom Page. Oh, no, damn. He's at 12, actually. He's barely moved up.
12.
You know, actually, I remember seeing him talking about this, that he's only really been moved up like 1, whereas other people are moving up like a couple. Yeah, man. He's really not moving that far up the ranking. Gilbert Burns is above him in the rankings. Like, that's how.
I haven't seen Gilbert Burns in a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple interesting fights you can give him, and he has enough people ahead of him where, like, he's moving up in the rankings, so he can fight some exciting guys. And it's messed up to say, but if anything, if worse comes to worse, he loses a fight or two, the UFC has more reason to be like, we're going to part ways with you. But that's one of the things where I'm saying, like, I could see them re-signing him, but instead of giving him, let's say, a 6-fight deal, we give you a 3-fight deal, and we see how we go from there. And they can kind of gauge on whether or not they want to keep him after that, because he fights anybody. Right now he's sitting at 12. That's a lot of names you can put up against him that he could do well against, or he could lose. And honestly, there are some good matchups you can have where someone will press him, and maybe he does get those highlight reel knockouts he's looking for.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see how things go for MVP. And then let's wrap this one up. Upcoming card that I just want to get your quick picks on. Israel Adesanya returns against Joe Pyfer. Dude, the last style bender needs to get this W. That's all I'm saying. I'll go through the card real quick, and then we'll just make our quick picks and give some opinions. Israel Adesanya versus Joe Pyfer. Alexa Grasso versus Macy Barber. Michael Chiesa versus Nico Price. Julian Rosa versus, oh, man, yep, there we go. Lerone?
That's another shot. That's 2.
That's 2. I definitely owe the bank a little bit right now. Lerone. I really want to get this name right. How would you say? Lerone. They look like Larianne. Lerryan. That's Larianne, if you ask me. Larianne Douglas. Mansur Abdul Malik. I like that I can say those ones a lot easier than Larianne. Versus Yusuri Belgari. Terrence McKinney versus Kyle Nelson. This is a solid fight night card. This is one of those ones where I said, like, how the other one, the UFC Freedom 250, you stole this on somewhere else. You're like, this is great. If you made this one a pay-per-view, maybe not the greatest pay-per-view, but overall good fight night. Izzy needs a dub.
Izzy needs a dub.
Headline of the year. Izzy needs a dub.
Yeah, man.
I think a lot of people felt he's not been the same.
He's due for one. I know he hasn't been the same, but he showed he's still a very good fighter his past couple fights.
Yeah, he's still got the skill. You see the spark.
So all of a sudden he's killing it. He's doing everything. Like, oh, yeah, Izzy's that dude. And all of a sudden he loses.
Yeah.
And it's just like, damn.
The Imavov fight. Yeah. I was surprised. Was you joking? Yeah. Sean Strickland.
Yeah.
We were like, what is happening?
Is this the same Imavov?
What do you mean?
No, see, Imavov's the Evloev. Well, that's what I'm talking about. It's 5
Evo. Evo.
There's 5 Evloevs. This Imavov.
Shout out Evo. I think it was Evo. Shout out Evo, by the way, who also this past fight also got a knockout round 1 in like a minute 30. Evo versus Ebo. Different guy.
No, I just definitely got them mixed up.
His names threw you off. Izzy, I think that we were both on the same page. We see the spark, we see the moves, we see the Izzy old show up for like a brief moment, and then he makes a mistake or two, gets clipped.
He'll be winning the whole fight and just slip up.
I couldn't tell you what it is, man. I don't know. I think that he needs to shift his focus. I think where he's at now, where he spoke recently, is kind of like, I'm going to take the title out of my mind. I'm not going to think about that. I'm just going to go in there and I'm going to fight. So I hope that he comes in here, like we spoke about, contender Izzy. Let's see if he can get that fire back. I'm going to be honest with you. I think I'd like to see Izzy get back a couple wins. I don't know if necessarily like title picture is going to be there. I'd like to see him in some fun fights and then right off into the sunset. Yeah. If he gets another title shot, may that be like his last fight possibly. But like I think he's got a couple more and then he's going to kind of go do some other stuff. But I don't know. Maybe he decides to stick around a little bit longer. Listen, he fought Anderson Silva, and that was like the passing of the torch. Maybe Izzy gets to the point where he's going to be the one that's passing the torch on to other guys. So, I don't know. You can see a situation where, I mean, so far he's a couple people have been able to put Israel Adesanya on the list of names that they've beaten. So, like, he's given a couple guys like some grace to move forward. Okay. Chama, Rodriguez Duplessis, Sean Strickland now. So Nasruddin Imavov. So there's been a couple guys now that have been able to beat him in the last couple fights. So he needs a win on that one. Alexa Grasso versus Macy Barber. Good scrap. You know.
Yeah. I don't know who to choose.
I got Macy Barber on this one. I really like Alexa Grasso, but I feel like she got the belt. I think that was where we got a moment of like her reaching, I don't want to say peak, but a moment of like, wow, she hit it, but I don't think she's that caliber.
I think she needs, for her to get some dubs, she needs to be on the ground.
Yeah, I think that's where she shines, but then she has an issue where she goes up against somebody like Macy Barber, who scraps and has really good takedown defense from what I've seen so far. Maybe she can pull some tricks up her sleeve, but I really do think that this is going to be a situation where we're going to see Alexa Grasso get pieced up a little bit. I'm not going to lie to you.
And I like Alexa Grasso.
I do too. The rest of the fights in the card, definitely you can see some really good ones on here where you're going to get some competitive matchups. Michael Chiesa, apparently this is going to be his retirement fight. I feel like up against a guy like Nico Price, that's a good guy to go up against. Nico Price has been there for a hot minute. I feel like I could be mistaken, but I think this is the third guy that Nico Price has fought in his retirement fight. So the fact that he hasn't retired, shout out to Nico Price. I think that's going to be a good one. Julian Erosa versus Larianne Douglas. I'm intrigued to see how that one goes just because I've messed up Larianne Douglas's name who knows how many times. Julian Erosa has been in there for a minute now. I just looked at his record. He's 31-13. That's a lot of fights. That's a lot of fights.
That's CTE.
That is big CTE, so we'll see how that one goes. And then for the rest of the card, we got Mansur Abdul Malik, who's 9-0-1 right now, so I'm intrigued to see how well that guy does. I feel like anytime you come in here, you have no losses. We'll see how you do, bro.
Yeah.
Let's see. I don't really know anything about this other guy. Yusri Belgari. Anything from you?
Nah,
Haven't heard the name before. Tune in and
heard
watch that one. And then Terrence McKinney. Always will watch a Terrence McKinney fight. Yeah. Very exciting. Goes in there, high energy. He's either knocking out or he's getting knocked out. So tune in for that one. And then Kyle Nelson. Man, I've seen you get knocked out. But Kyle Nelson, he stands in there. He stands in there and trades. So overall, tune into that fight night. Like I always say, don't sleep on the prelims, you know. But definitely tune into that one. Like I said, man, I really hope Izzy's able to turn this one around. But damn, we covered a lot on this episode.
Yeah, we covered
pretty much damn near everything.
The whole year.
Yeah, I think we're pretty much done. I think we can wrap it up. We'll see you guys in 2027. No, we'll be back. We'll try to be back a little bit sooner than we took this little bit of a break. The issue is, guys, when you come across situations where there's like fight nights where like you can confidently speak about like 2 people and then the rest of them you're just like, damn.
Yeah.
You know, it's really tricky. And then I'm not going to lie to you. I feel a type of way about being that kind of like news reporty, like let's just talk about every breaking news thing that happens.
Breaking news. White House.
I like to get a couple things and then really sit down here and go through them and have that nice conversation.
Let's really talk.
Yeah, man. Because especially like we watch like the fight nights and stuff like that. We'll sit down and watch pay-per-views, but we're talking about what's happening there. We don't really talk about all the other stuff that happens. So these give us these good moments. All right, before we wrap up, obviously, everybody please like, share, subscribe, comment to Uneducated MMA, 806 The Show, A Vibe Entertainment. Yep. Please go check out the new episode of For Your Entertainment that just dropped.
For Your Entertainment.
I know it's a lot of shows, but that is going to be found on 806's YouTube page. Please go check that out. If you're a fan of fandom at all, you want to talk some nerdy stuff, you want to talk comic books, superhero movies, Game of Thrones, anything along those lines, go check that out. Let's see. Shout out Jesus. Shout out Hongas. Shout out the Dominican baseball team for winning the World Baseball Classic.
Shout out.
Shout out my mom. Shout out my dad.
Yep. Let's see what I got.
Shout out Waldo.
Shout out Waldo, man. Shout out to shout out Jesus again.
Shout out Jesus again, bro. Shout out Jesus again. Anyway, everybody, this has been another episode of Uneducated MMA. As always, I've been Wandered Red. This has been the BMF champion of the world. Peace. DJ, play my music. Good episode.